Dude,
the jobs.
it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Somebody hit the button.
Let's get the button.
Ugh. Cheers. Cheers, brother. Good to see you.
It's good seeing you.
A little hot. Woo!
That's good stuff.
I know. It's one of my favorites.
Bullets.
A bullet
Single barrel.
Yeah.
Let's go. Right. Welcome to the Okayest Cook podcast.
Yes, sir.
We are finally back. Kind of together.
Two of us. 50%
We
here.
have half the crew, but it is not remote.
No.
we are-
Well, technically, yeah. Yes.
Technically, yeah. We're on
On
location.
location at my house.
Andy's house, the crib.
Yeah.
We got some stories behind us.
There
We
are
got
stories all over.
new
this.
stories
New
in front of
stories.
us. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dog's here.
digging the
asleep.
crib styles on
Yes.
point.
Yes. The new house is cool. Very happy
Yes.
with it. It's coming together.
Super
So.
thrilled. So,
Yeah.
so we've been busy the
Mhm.
past, how many months? Weeks?
Shoot.
A few episodes, at least, that we've been pretty busy.
Yeah. I think the last episode I was on was Caitlin's episode.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No. Seriously?
Yeah. We've had some recordings. I don't know.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I should look into that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But
So,
we're
so we've all been
figuring
doing
it out.
things. We have lives.
We do.
Outside of the podcast, right?
Lives, kids,
So.
new businesses. Colton's
Yes.
crushing it.
Colton, yeah. I saw Colton the other day, and he apologized for being a terrible host.
It's okay.
Because he's putting his business and family ahead of
Right.
the
What
podcast.
a loser.
Come on, Colton. No, we
but
forgive him.
No,
Yeah.
he's doing well. He's doing really well, and
Gotta
so
do
that's
what you
good.
gotta do.
Yeah. So, but we're here today, and we
Yeah.
have fun stories to talk about. All
Yeah.
sorts to talk about. So,
Before the stories, though,
yeah, let's talk about food.
what do we eat? You got something? I got something.
You go first.
So I did a barbecue
Mm-hmm.
the other day, and that's part of the story later on.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part of the barbecue that turned out better, spoiler alert, is some chicken I did.
Yes.
So I picked up a teaching gig. So I'm teaching now up in my old hometown, Marion, good old Marion. And before class one day, I was super early, honestly, on a squirrel hunt in my parents' backyard. Super chill hunt.
You can sit right out back here.
I
and just
was-
get them. Get the urban guys.
Yeah, the squirrels and bunnies in your yard. No, actually, so I've been doing some content for Outdoor Edge. I'm sure I've told you.
Yep.
But they've got a squirrel recipe of mine coming out soon. And he wanted some squirrel hunting content to go with that. So I was like, let me just show up to class early. I'll hunt one squirrel in my parents' backyard. And I was just sitting there waiting for the squirrels to pop out. It was hot, a balmy day, perusing Facebook. And one of my old college friends, or my old high school friend's sister, Laura, made a post. And she was like, hey, I saw chickens. We've got 75 hearts, livers, and gizzards just in my fridge.
That makes sense now where that post came from. I
Ready
saw
to
that.
go.
Okay.
My normal buyer didn't want them. So somebody take them. Because she didn't want to throw them away. It's awesome.
No.
I love it. So I was like, I can take them.
Mhm.
I've got this dynamite sausage recipe from our taboo food episode.
Yes.
Sounds
Check it out.
terrible, but it sounded cool. The topic was cool. The sound was terrible. But the recipe from that taboo food episode calls for a lot of liver and heart.
There
So
you go. So
I'm
you
going
had
to
it.
stockpile these chicken livers.
Make some
While
sausage.
I was there picking them up, I was like, this was new to me. I didn't know she raised chickens. And so I was like, Laura, what are the odds you have a couple chickens I can buy for this barbecue I'm doing? And she's like, yeah, heck yeah. She's got a freezer that's like 15 feet long. This thing is gigantic, just loaded with chickens.
Nice.
So she gave me two like pretty big sized chickens. Like I don't know what an average chicken
I don't know.
weighs, but they were like,
It's a meat bird too, so like
Yeah,
I don't
it's a meat
know.
bird. So
I've
they're-
seen a lot of like chicken or egg laying birds around, but like Colton's birds. But
the meat birds are definitely genetically raised to grow fast.
yeah, okay.
And these birds were like 7-8 pounds, maybe 7 and 9 pounds. I forget. They seemed big,
Nice.
but they were like the most beautiful birds, like just zero smell, super fresh, raised really well, fed really well.
That's awesome.
And you could tell. So I brined those in Traeger's citrus. They have a citrus brine designed for turkey, but dude, it was awesome on this chicken. So 24-hour brine in the citrus brine, and then they have a citrus rub. that I slapped on top. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Threw that on the Traeger for 4 hours and
Mm-hmm.
juicy, just perfect, fell apart.
That's awesome.
Glorious. It's awesome. Awesome chicken.
That's awesome. So mine's a bit of an oldie but a goodie. So if you've ever listened to this podcast, I've talked about this recipe before, and it's Hank Shaw's Italian roast recipe.
Ooh, you do like that one?
It is one of my go-tos. But this is a new house, and for me, and I've not had a chance to like really cook in it yet until I had some time last week, and
Break it in with the good old Hank.
break it in with one that I know. Except this was done with an elk roast. So a buddy of mine got his first elk in New Mexico last year or last season, and he brought a bunch of meat. We traded some venison and some moink. He got some moink, and
That
gave
seems like
me
a good
this
deal.
massive elk roast. And in fact, you might be able to see it behind you in Oliver's toy bin over there. There's a little bone, a chunk of it's the chunk of bone from the elk. It's straight from the roast. Yeah, that guy right there.
Nice.
So that's, and he might come
He
get
has
you now.
cleaned it out.
Yeah, it is cleaned it out. It's marrow. Here, I'll hand it
We'll
to
give that to him.
Here you go, bug. But this came from that roast,
Nice.
and it is one of his newfound favorite toys that he carries around, and it's kind of hilarious when he drops it because it's loud as hell on this wood floor. but yeah, so it was an oldie but a goodie. But got to cook in the house, but with
awesome.
But with an elk roast, and it turned out
So
really good. I have some frozen too. which
Don't think I've
helps.
ever had elk. My uncle might have given me some ages ago, but it does not ring a bell. So how does
Okay.
it compare
So
to like Indiana venison?
I guess the best way to describe, in my opinion, would be that it tastes like what you'd want venison to taste like.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, like, if you've had a ruddy buck, if that's ever happened to you, you know that it still tastes good, especially if you prepare it right, clean it well. It still tastes good, but there's a flavor profile.
I've never
to
shot
it.
a monster.
Yeah, like that guy back there.
Stanky.
Hey, bud.
That we'll tell the story someday, but that buck was the stinkiest buck
It was
I've ever had to touch.
He tasted good though. He didn't taste bad. My Texas one tasted ruddy.
Really?
Yeah, but
All my bucks have been, on the smaller side.
yeah,
Okayest hunter style, and have not been super ready
right.
tasting.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would describe elk as like it's what you'd want it to taste like.
Nice.
And honestly, it's what like especially if you were having like a lean steak, like you'd want that to taste like too. Just
Nice.
really good. And honestly, I slow cooked it in that Dutch oven. If you haven't checked out Hank Shaw's Buck Moose book,
Yes.
it's in that recipe is in that book, and it's awesome.
He's a hero.
He's
hero
one of
ours.
the Okayest Cook's heroes for
Yes.
sure.
Do you know if it was a bull or a cow?
It was a bull.
Okay.
So I've seen he has a Euro mount just like that, but obviously a lot bigger. But shout out to Rob. He's going out, I believe, again this year too to do another one. So yeah, we'll see if he gets more.
See if we can work up
Yeah,
another deal.
Work up another deal. Got to go kill some more hogs. So
Yes.
normal transition here, I guess.
Yeah,
into,
speaking of hogs.
yeah, hogs.
Hogs and travel hunting, which
Yeah,
I've done a tiny bit of travel hunting. I've gone to Ohio
yeah.
for ducks, and that's it.
Mhm.
So, so
So-
you're kind of the resident expert here on travel hunting.
Yeah,
Tell
I've done
us
it
about
yeah,
your
because I've done
recent
it twice.
adventure.
I've driven down twice. I've travel hunted several times now, probably more like 10 now. But flying with weaponries can be difficult. So sometimes
Yeah.
driving is actually more fun and worth it. Also, you just have your truck at that point. See, you're gonna hear
There's
that.
the bone.
Sorry, there's the bone. Sorry if you pick up on that. So just recently got back from Texas not too long ago and went on a nice hog hunt. Got 2 hogs. It was a really fun trip because I actually get to do a variety of different hunting styles.
Yeah.
And taking the truck down just makes it a hell of a lot easier to have all the gear that I want and need, and also have a cooler to bring stuff back.
Yeah.
So
I
the
know
harder
you were complaining about flying frozen meat back.
Oh, and
Kinda
it's just
Or shipping.
it's a little terrifying of a process. Now I've done it a couple times. Now it's not that big of a deal. I can give everyone the little down low on how to fly with meat. It's not as hard as you think. It's just a little nerve wracking if things go outside your control. Delays happen in airports, believe it or not. If you've ever been on an airplane, I'm sure you've dealt with that. And if you're, if you know you've got 30 pounds of pork frozen in a cooler that's sitting in God knows how hot of a back terminal of a airport. You never know how long it's going to, if it's going to be good. Seriously. But I will say every time I've flown home with meat, opened it up when I got back, still frozen, rock solid. So
is it just frozen or do you have like dry ice on top of that?
So
normal ice?
So we can talk a little bit about that. So the TSA will not let you fly with frozen water. So like, Oliver, come here. Come over here. He's like, I don't want to.
Like even like carry. Well, first off, carry on or check.
You can do technically both, but rule still applies. No frozen water.
Anywhere.
So the way that you do this, and this is stolen straight off of YouTube, and I wish I could give credit to who the video came from. I just don't honestly remember. But basically, what I do every time when I'm flying home with meat is I first off get it processed down and then get it in a freezer. So if you can get it frozen, your likelihood of getting it home frozen is going to be much higher.
Surviving the flight.
Surviving is much higher. So, so getting the meat frozen is like critical to this. But go to Walmart. Don't spend a lot of money. Buy the really shitty $29.99 cooler.
Yeah.
They're right next to the coolers are these $1 ice packs. They're the blue blocks that you freeze, and I've got some in the freezer too.
Not technically water.
No, because it's a sealed container.
Okay.
So it's like they just don't want water and ice because that stuff leaks and it gets all over everything. So that's a lot of that, and then there's also I'm sure there's other rules or reasons why that's the case.
Yeah.
So because dry ice you can get it, but you can't get it readily that quickly, and it's also technically it will melt into I don't know what dry ice
just turns into vapor.
But it's still I don't know. It even says I believe you're not even allowed to have dry ice.
Oh really?
So these ice packs work great, and they're $1 a piece. You need 8 of them.
Yeah.
So all in, you've got $40, and then go buy a roll of duct tape. Now I prefer Gorilla tape because I feel like it's a lot better.
Yeah.
You're gonna use the whole roll on this thing.
Yeah.
So basically, what I do is get back to the house right before you're about to leave for the airport. Load up the frozen with the frozen ice packs. Load it up in the cooler. I tape the shit out of this thing. Like literally. Yeah. Look, if the TSA wants to get in, they're going to cut right through and get into it. So it's fine. The tape is just to keep it from as it gets tossed around, it doesn't open up basically. But tape the bejesus out of it. I always write what's on it. I put meat on top of it. I put my information on the cooler because I'm not going to. Boston actually has a couple of these coolers up at Ball State, and they use them. I was up there the other day.
With your name
they do. Yeah, I just marked out like my address, my phone number, whatever. But yeah, But yeah, it's because then it's $40 to get it home. When I'm shipping that much, even if you were to ship that stuff back, you're looking at several hundreds of dollars. When I got my deer, the first deer down there, they wanted like $400 to get it back. So instead, I bought Nick a $200 cooler, and he brought the whole deer back.
Yeah.
And then he uses that cooler to mule my stuff back and forth if I need to again for later. So
that's perfect.
But yeah, so a little bit. So that's if you ever want to fly with meat, that's how you do it. If you check it, again, rules still apply, no water. So you could do the same thing in like a Yeti zip-up one that's like carry-onable. I've seen that happen before. In fact, I think one of the bow hunters that we follow.
I think Meat Eater talks about
Bow Life guy.
Carrying meat on.
Yeah.
That just feels weird, but
it is. You just have to declare it. And honestly, like, here's the thing. My dad works for TSA. I promise you guys, they've heard weirder shit than you're going to say. So they know it's okay. It's fine. The hardest part's just flying with guns and flying with the bow. It's just, there's a lot of red tape. You have to be very cautious. Don't bring ammo. Just buy it when you get down there. There's a lot of some rules and things you get through. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, so this trip was a travel down trip. So I took the truck, had all my stuff.
Way easier.
Obviously the drive's rougher, but I prefer to drive down there if I can. Just because it's not a bad trip either too where I'm going. So
so down in Texas,
so down in Texas, this was a cool hunt. We did 3 different hunting styles, which is kind of cool too. Because I mean the area I have access to, so I'm very blessed, very lucky to have access to a ranch down there that a buddy of mine, his in-laws own the ranch. It's a 10,000 acre ranch. Nice. It is huge. It's basically 10 square miles in any direction you look. It's all of theirs. It's crazy. So there's a place that I'm actually wearing the shirt from, Duck Creek. There's a little section of the ranch called Duck Creek, and it's a creek that runs through there. And that's where I got my first. That's where I shot that turkey. Or shot at the turkey. I guess I didn't really get him. He ran away too
You
fast.
hit it. You
I
got
did
some
hit it.
feathers.
I got some feathers. That's where I got my first hog. That's where I got my first Texas deer.
Special place.
So it's a special place.
That's awesome.
So we got to go down there, and there's a little spot, like a little section of it that the first time we went down there, we didn't realize it was still on the ranch's property.
Okay.
Because the way that they're segmented, and if anybody's been on hunting apps and on X, like it's sometimes because of tax reasons, land is separated in different names of things. So we just weren't sure. But we found out that it was in fact part of the ranch. So we were over on this new section that we'd been in through a couple times, but we kind of just went around both sides, and so got to do a spot and stalk, which is, in my opinion, and Colton's as well, probably our favorite form of like hunting. Walking around in the woods with bow or guns is just fun.
You're chasing pigs specifically?
Chasing pigs specifically for this. So we got out there early because it's super hot. And they don't, just like everything else in wildlife, they don't like to move when it's super hot. So we got down there, kind of both went on either side of the creek with the intent of meeting up at the other end.
Mm-hmm.
And we're walking down. I'm walking down one side. Nick's walking down the other side. And I get to a spot, and I'm like, I see there's a ton of deer, and it's so cool to see because they're just obviously they're not season, but it's just super cool to see them in real life and just out in the wild. So it was really cool. Get to see a ton of deer while we were walking around through there, which is cool. And then I hear I get down kind of closer towards the creek. I hear Nick shoot, so I'm like, okay, so and it sounded like it was behind me, so I'm like, okay, so I'm further up than him. So I just like tried to get myself towards the creek so that I could. There's always more than one or two. There's usually there are groups of usually 5 or more. So I was like, they're surely going to run down the creek, and sure enough, they did. And I saw them. I saw like a bunch of them pass through, but it was just a little out of position for me to take a shot. So I go find Nick, and he's standing over this huge sow. There's some pictures of this on my Instagram if you haven't.
I think the one you dragging out.
It's about dragging out. That's the sow that I'm talking about.
Awesome.
And he said that he walked up, and they were sitting there eating that stuff. She just popped her head out around the corner, and then boom, done. So that was cool. We got that one, drug her out. It was kind of cool. We had Nick's son with us, was riding in the truck. So he got to come out and see it, and Nash was really into it. So it was pretty cool to see.
How old is he?
Nash is 4.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome.
So he was that was cool. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. And then, so that was fun. And then fast forward, we went to, the next hunt, was more of a, just a stand. So we have a friend down there, Jacob, who is not only an awesome hunter, an amazing hunter, but also a very well-established fisherman as well. So he does a lot of tournaments and stuff. He's sponsored and does that whole thing too. So it's pretty cool. Super cool dude. He runs a ranch that that has hog problems too. So we got to go into a stand and actually get to see. And unfortunately, this was one of those, which was like, it was a really cool opportunity to walk in there and get situated and be able to just like watch a feeder. And unfortunately, no hogs came in, but 2 just beautiful deer came through.
You sent that video.
Yeah. And Jacob is, again, a phenomenal hunter, a phenomenal conservationist, and understands how to raise deer. And that's what he did for a living for a long time. So, he knew the deer, and I sent him the photo. He's like, yeah, I know who those. He's like, we're letting those 2 grow a little longer. So, but still really cool to see. No pigs that night, but I got to see a stand hunt, which was fun.
Yeah.
And then we got to go do the real deal, which is the thermals at night.
The night.
So the night hunts are fun. So this is the part that is just so cool, being able to, again, like, and for those of you who don't know, like, hogs in Texas are, they're a nuisance animal. There is no season. There's no tags required. But they destroy land. And it can be very detrimental to cattle raising, anything really. They tear up fences. They do a lot of things. It causes a lot of damage to make these massive holes. Cows step in those, hurt themselves, break legs, things like that. And you have a lame cow. Then there's not a whole lot you can do for that cow at that point. No. And then they just tear stuff up, and then they eat a bunch of feed. In one instance, they had at Nick's family's ranch, at the Chaser Ranch, they had one instance where they just had this feed pen put together. And they just put a bunch of feed in there, and in one night, $8,500 of feed eaten by pigs.
Jeez.
So there are animals that are overpopulated and they need to be taken care of, but they're delicious. So
good.
So I hear anyway. I'm not allowed to have it, but
It's good.
I have tasted it. It's very good. So we got to go out there and then basically using night vision and thermal scopes and cool guns that are like subsonics and just basically get to walk out. And pigs can't see very well. They can smell though. So you just have to mind the winds. You just be in control of that. But then we were able to walk in about 100 yards out and got to take a really cool shot.
Jeez.
Got another one.
Just Call of Duty style.
That was so cool. And then it's just really cool to like see all the wildlife at night through some of these things. It's just really neat because there's just, Texas is wild, man. Especially, some of these ranches have just a lot of really cool exotics on them. So anyway, it was just a really fun experience to do 3 different hunts and then come back with some meat. So I got to prep that out. So there's again another picture on my Instagram if you want to see that too. But got to see I love processing meat and pork is fun because the back straps are very similar in preparation to that of a deer. But the meat is just like such a cool color. Yeah. It's not as red. It's super pink. So it's kind of cool to see that other white meat.
If you've never butchered a pig, it's not unsettling, but it's weird, different.
It's different than so we don't typically like gut, like we do the gutless method or what's called a T-cut. And we normally just take the straps out, the back straps out. But when we've done one where we basically that big one that we got last in December, which was 315 pounds. Like he was huge. That guy was like, we peeled him back, like basically took the skin all the way down on the sides and took as much of the meat off as we could without gutting him. Because like they're just, it's already gross enough, but it is gross. These pigs are nasty and they're covered in mud. They're very dirty animals. So, you have to be a little bit cautious of that. So like in preparation, we do a really good job of making sure everything's clean.
Keep the meat clean.
Just keep the meat clean. And then like, especially in the summertime, they can get wormy. So, we checked this one to make sure there were no worms and we're good. So,
watch that trichinosis.
Yeah. But again, fun fact, cook your meat. Yeah. Like understand that things die at 137 degrees. Yeah. Trichinosis is dead then.
We don't eat rare pork.
Don't eat rare pork. No. If you're not sure, put it in a slow cooker. Make pulled pork out of it. It's fine.
200 degrees.
200 degrees. Make sure it's
just fine.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Dude, that sounds like an awesome trip.
So so cool trip to see 3 different hunts, 2 pigs. Yeah. Got to, even though the one that middle one was a bust, got to see some just gorgeous deer and then ended up like a bunch of others. So at one point there were over 10 deer. All right. Like basically surrounded us. There was a fawn that was with them too. And he was just get the zoomies just zooming around. So it was just super cool to watch. Yeah. So
it's always fun just to see animals in the woods.
Yeah. So yep, and then getting to prep out some food, and then we always cook a little bit of it there too. So tastes good.
Yeah,
some pork.
Yeah. So you got some more moink planned? Or?
So that's the game plan for what's in the freezer now, and then also I've got a trip coming up. I'm gonna go back in November, and primarily for deer, but I will go back and we'll do hog hunts at night too.
Yeah,
so
might as well.
We're down there. Might as well get
to sleep.
Well, that and I'm driving, and my goal is to be down there for like 10 days.
Nice.
So 2 weekends worth, and I'll work during the week while I'm down there. But the intent is to get as much as we possibly can and start to get home.
I'll loan you my cooler.
Yeah, I'm taking both mine for sure. If not, well, if I get more than that, we'll see. But yeah,
it'll cost you a little meat.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That's fine. Fine. Oh, you can have all the pig you want, buddy.
Yes. Dude, I'll trade you so much for pig.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're done with your story.
That's it. That's the.
Yeah. So my freezer is a little full at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was.
Not a bad problem in September.
Not a bad problem. Well, in September it's a bad problem because I want to go hunting.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily have room for deer at the moment.
Buy another freezer.
Because this is probably another story, but I bought a quarter of a cow. And it's been great, super fun cooking the beef. But
speaking of cow, I forgot about
the cow.
So
tell us about the
so sorry, not to interrupt, but to go back. So again, example of what's just cool about Texas is this was just sitting
just in a field,
like right on a tree line. Whole cow is there. Unfortunately, it's sad about it is that like it's a cow that died at the ranch, and the cows aren't supposed to die at the ranch, so something happened to that cow. So I don't know if this one was from predation. We had they had a mountain lion situation out there.
Okay.
So they did lose some cattle to a mountain lion. They thought it was just coyotes, but turns out there was a mountain lion. And then also just cows get old. The mamas get old. So this is a mama of some sort.
Yeah, looks gnarly.
Yep.
Been in the sun for a day.
Oh, there's been sun for a while. This is so that one back there, the Euromount's obviously bleached, but this is what they look like when they're just sun dried.
Yeah, it's flaking off, and it's been there for a while.
Oh yeah, he's been there. So.
Jeez. Yeah, so cows. I've got a bunch of cow in my freezer.
Okay.
I don't know why that came to mind. That's not what I'm going to talk about here. What about a cow? It's new. It's different. Just cooking fun, different things. Cooking beef, is not anything at all like cooking venison.
No.
I was reminded.
It's been a while. Honestly, I haven't bought.
Dude, this is the first beef I've bought in probably 6 years.
Crazy.
And it was like trying to speak Spanish again from like high school Spanish. Like, I don't know how to cook beef.
Yeah.
Like, I'm throwing it on the grill and like I'm setting it all on fire because
it's all the fat.
It turns out there's fat in beef. And it's like, it's a problem because I keep setting it on fire and I don't know how to cook beef anymore. But it's so good. Like, I forgot how good
That's why people like cow, man. So good.
It's just like this rich, fatty beef fat flavor. So good. Like after that chat with Caitlin, like I'm trying to eat more real food. I'm trying to eat more meat off the bones just to get that collagen, get that cartilage. And I started taking collagen like you recommended. And like my joints do feel a whole lot better.
It's crazy how much just reintroducing that back into your system is just so huge.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's like the powder I've been taking or the beef or the eating off the bone, but like definitely a combination of the two is
probably a little
huge.
bit both. Yeah.
So
nice. That's awesome. So let's talk about
transition here to the real story.
Yeah.
There's no smooth way to do it except just eating meat off the bone. I recently turned 40. And I did a hog roast for my birthday.
Is that where the 84 hat came from?
Yeah, 1984. born and raised. I've never cooked a whole hog, pig. It's a domestic pig. I won't call it a hog.
No,
I think it was a girl. I don't know. There's some nipples, but I couldn't tell. So I bought a 78-pound pig from the butcher shop, and like I ordered this thing like a couple weeks in advance, and I didn't know exactly like how long a 78-pound pig would be. So I'm already in way over my head.
You went for it.
Yeah, I went for it. Just
we're gonna try.
Typical Chris. Just diving in head first. We'll figure it out. I had a large offset smoker lined up from a guy we know, and this thing's like 20 feet long, so 100%
gonna fit.
No problem fitting this pig. Like 5-6 days before I'm supposed to pick up this pig, he bails on me. So I'm stuck with a pig that I don't know how big it is, 7-8 pounds, and no smoker to smoke it on. I've got a Traeger. It's about 35 inches long, 30 inches long. It's not going to fit on that. I'm confident of that. So I just like calling all my friends, everyone I know with a smoker, like, dude, can I please borrow your smoker? Like, it's such awkward conversations. Like,
dude, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I wish you would have told me this because this is like,
I know
Nathan would have given you one. Nathan,
oh, okay.
The guy that does the summer sausage that we've talked about.
Yeah,
a little bit. I could have gotten you one. I apologize. I didn't realize you were.
I figured it out pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I freaked out real hard on a few people. They felt sorry for me.
Yeah.
And,
please.
Yeah. And so on my Instagram, you can see the Traeger Nation saved me.
They did. So there were quite a few
from field
grills.
to table. Yeah, I had 4 Traegers, and it only took 3 of them to fit the pig. So the pig was.
So did you cut it in sections then?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So I had to butcher it. I had to. Well, you had to clean it up a little bit. So I just watched a couple of YouTube videos and like, hey, how do you roast a whole hog, smoke a whole hog? They recommended just like anything, like you want to cut off as much of the silver skin, connective tissues, on the legs and stuff. You want to peel back some of the skin just to expose more meat to the smoke, to seasoning and bark and stuff. And so I did all that, and then I cut the pig at the hips. So basically hams and legs I put on one smoker, and basically the bacon, the rib cage, The front shoulders and the arms I put on my smoker, and then the head I put on the third smoker.
Glad you kept the head. Get some jowl meat. So good.
Yes. Dude, it was good.
Yeah.
The head
just pick at it.
Really, really nice. This was all the night before, and I don't know why I waited so long. I should have broke the pig down earlier, but I waited, because why? And
well, I mean, if there was an opportunity for you to do it all at once in one section, you probably would have done that.
100%.
If you would have had that 20-footer, you would have done it.
100%. Yes.
Because it just looks cool.
But again, like I picked the hog up probably 2:00, and I put him on the smoker at like 9:00. I don't know where my head was at, thinking like, how long is this going to take? We weren't needing it until 4:00. I can't do that math, but it's like it's like 16 hours on the smoker, right? So,
well, 9 to 9 is 12.
Yeah.
So, and then
math,
to 4. 9,
more than 16. So I was figuring I was fine.
Yeah, 7 plus 9.
And plus breaking it up,
12.
I figured that would speed things along.
19 hours now.
Spoiler alert, it was like dead on. Like I probably should have started it
At
way
8.
earlier so it could have rested more. But like the timing was dead on. Like it was perfect. Well, it was perfect timing with no resting. It still pulled apart just fine, but could have rested a bit more. But because I was kind of in a rush, it was getting dark. I had a friend pop over last second, so like that delayed me a little bit more. Just chit-chatting with him. And it started raining. And so I had all my smokers under my pavilion, to keep them in the light, but also like for weather. Like it was a freak rainstorm. We had no idea it was wasn't called for. But my butchering table was outside in the rain, so I had to like scramble and clear some of the smokers, pull the table in, and I'm kind of like a neat freak with my concrete. Like I don't want to get pig fat and smoker grease dripping down on my concrete, so I'm trying to keep it clean. I probably could, yeah. Anyways, so in the scramble to get this pig broken down, I didn't build a proper foil bed for the thing because the video I watched recommended wrapping it halfway through. It's like anything else. Like some people wrap, some people don't.
Right.
So I was going to wrap the hog. So I get the front half, the shoulders, the rib cage, the bacon. It's on my butchering table, and I'm thinking, man, I need to put foil under this. And I don't know how heavy it is, but like I was doing this by myself. So for one dude, it's like trying to get the hog up and get the foil under there was not a pretty thing. I don't know why I didn't just pick it up and put it back in the cooler. I should have done that.
Made the foil bed, then
but it was late. Yeah. So I just tried to like hodgepodge some foil under this pig. Mistake number 1. So I get it on my grill, and it is maxing out my grill.
Oh yeah.
Like it is 100% the full width of my grill. It fits, but just barely.
It just fits.
And so I fired up my smoker, came to temp just fine, threw the hog on, got started on the legs. And I kind of skipped a step. I did inject it with a marinade and some spice. First time I've injected something. I've never.
How was that? Just sticking?
Yeah, I bought a big gold needle. Like I felt like some terrorist doctor from a haunted house, just like cramming this needle and just stabbing him full of apple juice and rub.
Nice.
But
nice.
I should have done more injection. I think the video that said like literally as much as you possibly can, like it should be squirting out because there's so much liquid in there. I didn't do that much. I don't know why. I was rushed. Just tons and tons of seasoning. Like it looked awesome. So got the legs on. I did a proper foil bed for the legs.
Good.
The legs were on the legs were on a friend's grill. The front half was on my grill. And by the time I get the head on the third grill, I didn't do anything to that. Just I put foil on the ears and a little avocado oil just to help it brown up really nice. Yeah. So that went on. Pretty much set them all at 200 degrees for the night. But at that point, my grill gives me like a low temp warning. And I'm freaking out. Like it's telling me to check my pellets, but it's like I just filled it up. I don't know what's going on. So I reset my grill, refire it up. Same thing, low temp. Like it won't come back to 200 degrees. So I empty out my hopper. I think there's something wrong with my auger. So I clear my auger, reprime the auger, refill up my hopper full of pellets, and try to ignite again. Same thing, won't come to temp show. So I'm freaking out at this point. Luckily, a friend's wife's sister's husband, brother-in-law, essentially, lives in our neighborhood, and he loaned me his grill. I think I told him this, so it's safe to say on the podcast, but it was a Pit Boss. So it was kind of off in the corner. It wasn't part of the photo shoot.
It did not fit.
No, it was not a Traeger.
But it saved the day.
Well, almost. So I pulled up the Pit Boss. I fired it up. It came to temp just fine. And I go to move the hog, which it's already been cooking for a tiny bit, but at 100 degrees, not 200.
Right.
So there's some juices flowing. Mm-hmm. I go to pick it up, and that foil bed is just like, it's a shit show. So I'm like, how am I going to get this pig from my grill to this grill without just like dripping the stuff all over my concrete? It's like, oh gosh, I started the process around 8:30, 9 o'clock. At this point, it's only been an hour.
Okay.
Hour
and a half. This was like 3 o'clock in the morning.
No. It was early enough that I was not worried about the hog, the pig going bad. But it was getting to that point where if I didn't figure it out soon, I would need to throw it in my freezer, which is full.
Which so I was from freaking earlier
out from the cow. I was freaking out. So I'm trying to move this hog over, and I get looking at it, and I shimmy the hog a little bit, and I notice that the internal thermometer in my grill is just completely engulfed by the pig. And so I'm thinking, well, duh. Okay, this internal thermometer is reading the pig temperature, not the grill temperature.
Not the grill, so it can't figure out what's going on. So it's throwing off.
Yes. Okay. So I just shimmy the hog a little bit. My grill fires up just fine. So that crisis was averted.
You did not save the day.
Sorry, Pit Boss. I'm very thankful you were there.
Thank you, Robin, but your assistance is not needed.
I didn't need you, but very thankful I had it just in case.
Nice. That's very nice of him.
And the Pit Boss, I should have used it. It was a bit longer anyways, so
but
it would have
been
easier.
The photo shoot.
It would have ruined the Traeger Nation. No, it would have been just fine. Like Pit Boss is great. Yeah. I love Pit Boss. Yeah. I just don't own Pit Boss.
Yeah.
So made it through the night. I slept on the couch, woke up every hour and a half, 2 hours, mostly just to check the pellets.
Right, because you don't want to run out.
So the two Traegers were bigger. Mine was the 30-inch. I've got the Traeger 780. My buddy had an older Traeger. I don't know the model, but it was 36 inches. And those both have huge hoppers, like 18-pound hoppers. You can fit a ton in there. The smaller Traeger, though, had a really tiny hopper. So I was worried that one would run out. So I kept waking up just to refill, check temperatures, spray with apple juice or apple cider vinegar, and just make sure pellets are there. Made it through the night just fine. Made it through the whole next morning just fine. Threw the chicken on. It was great. It was awesome. And it is now 3 o'clock, and friends are going to start coming over in an hour. The meat is all 100% done. It's safe to eat. It's like 180. Definitely not ideal for pulling. No, I think it was closer to 190. So we're darn close. And I'm thinking, I could just crank this grill a little bit hotter, and it'll just get it to 200. It'll be perfect. I knew in the back of my mind that was a terrible idea.
Right.
Nobody ever recommends doing that. Never
don't do
this. It's a bad idea.
You think it's going to save you, but it won't.
It's just not good for the meat. It just doesn't cook the same.
It will cook it to that temperature faster, but
it's not a great way to do it.
Not a great way to do it.
Yeah. Because if you don't make a proper foil bed,
you leak things that are hot.
Your grill will be full of leaky, piggy, fatty liquids that tend to combust at higher temperatures. And
so you started another fire.
I 100% set my grill on fire.
Okay.
And I set it to 300, 350, I forget. And a few minutes later, I noticed my grill is like, it's smoking more than usual.
Not a good
At
smoke.
higher temperatures, you don't really have more smoke. Lower temperatures, it does tend to put out a little bit more smoke. I don't know the science behind that, but somebody write in, tell us why. But my buddy's smoker has been smoking more. Like just the smoke it puts out, it's the thicker smoke. And it was normal. It was behaving properly. So I just kind of like disregarded my smoker smoking more, which red flag number 1.
Right.
Always address these things. If something feels off, it is probably off. And so I disregarded it. I'm just a sweaty mess from working outside all day. So I go upstairs to take a shower. I get pretty much ready to hop in the shower, half naked and all that. I get this gut feeling like I should look out my window and check on the smoker. So I go over to our bathroom window, pull open the blinds a little bit, like creak my head, look at the smoker, and I see flames just shooting out of the grease drip. And I'm like,
oh,
shit. So I'm half naked and I'm sprinting down the steps. I get to the back door and Stephanie, my wife, is just standing there with a bottle of Windex, just la 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 la, just washing down the window. She's outside facing in with this like inferno like blazing behind her, and she had no idea.
The best part about this story is that I was at this party and I actually heard the story from Steph.
Oh my gosh. So I scare the piss out of her. I throw the door open.
She's like, he came down half naked and just yelled at me.
Because I'm like, you don't notice this fire behind you? And she's like, I just thought it was extra smoky. But she never runs the smoker.
No.
So yeah, she doesn't know how much it should be smoking. She didn't see the fire. It wasn't loud. It was a little fire. It was a big fire, but it wasn't loud.
Yeah. Well, it's on a smoker.
So,
there's nothing. Yeah.
In her defense, I freaked out a little bit more on her than I should have. But I was in like full on panic mode.
Well, yeah,
because
but it's not like you like. I mean, you had like several at this point. Think about the time and energy that's been invested. In
and
this thing.
it's more money than I wanted to spend on the hog. Back up, I paid something like $5.50 a pound,
right,
for this hog. So
you got a couple $100 in that.
The yield is like the price per pound of edible meat from a whole hog is way less. Wait, the ratio is way more expensive.
Yeah, you would have paid
from
like
a hog
$7 to $10
versus buying
$5
just pork shoulders.
Right.
So, but it's different. I wanted that whole hog presentation. I didn't want just shoulders. I wanted belly and loin and ham.
Did you put it all back together at the end?
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that. So my grill's on fire. I'm freaking out. I know that if I open this grill, it's just going to explode. I mean, not like literally explode.
No, but
like the fire will spread drastically.
Right.
So I at least calm myself down to like prepare a little bit. So I get a wet towel. I get and this is like at a dead sprint. Like I'm running to get these things. I get a couple cookie sheets, cookie trays. Get it all ready. I didn't grab a hot pad. I should have, but I've got a huge spatula for barbecue type stuff. And I say a prayer. I open the lid. Yeah, the fire just like engulfs. The pig is on fire at this point, and I'm just like I'm swearing. I'm just like trying to get this meat off. I'm just trying to save the meat.
Right.
So I get the pig off. I put the towel on it, put the fire out, and then my grill's just. It is what it is. It's on fire. 600 degrees in there. I'm not going to try I can't pull that stuff out safely. No. So I just close my grill and just know that I'm sorry. Bad things are going to happen, but
sorry, grill.
We'll deal with that later.
Future Chris will be upset.
Future Chris will deal with it. It's still in my backyard, just sitting there.
Just waiting for future Chris. Future Chris doesn't know about this yet.
At this point, I'm still half naked. I'm not in a towel, but definitely just in shorts.
Yep.
And we've got two very close friends coming over. One of my wife's best friends and her husband are coming over to help. And I'm like, well, I should probably go put a shirt on at least. Because I don't have the best beach body at the moment.
You'll be fine.
I don't want, specifically her to see me just hanging out in my skivvies.
Hey, it's Pendleton. It's fine.
Yeah, it's Pendleton. So I go upstairs. I get dressed. The crisis is averted. get downstairs to address the situation, and it's burnt. It's burnt pretty bad. So
this is the main body too.
This is the front
Shoulders.
legs, the rib cage, and the belly. Like all the stuff I wanted the most. Like that bacon meat, the rib meat. I was like, I'm devastated at this point. I knew it wasn't a total loss.
Right.
So the fire was all at the grease trap end, which was the belly. It's like the belly.
Where all the fat is.
Wait, no, was it backwards? No, it was the belly. I don't know how it was sitting in there because we lost the legs. Like the legs got burnt. Because I wanted to play with the trotters a little bit, but they burned up. I forget. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But yeah, essentially lost all the bark. But the bark at the far end, some of that was good, and a lot of the ribs were at that end too. So we did get a little bark from that, but basically like everything, probably a 1/4 inch below the bark was just fine. We just had to be real careful. Like obviously it looks kind of yellowish, like when it gets burnt. So we were real careful. We cut away all the bark. We cut away all the yellowish, dry, burned meat. And like we're smelling everything. And if it smells okay, we put it in the pan to pull. And we, all in all, like we didn't lose that much meat. It's all that beautiful bark was gone. So like all the texture was gone from that half,
and the presentation.
which was bummed. A lot of the flavor, honestly, because all that seasoning was on the bark. Yeah, we injected it, but not with enough.
Right.
And so because the foil was cracked and I didn't make a proper foil bed, all that liquid was leaking out, which is what started the fire. So yeah, all these.
This is why it's Okayest Cook.
Exactly.
These are the things we've learned so far. Take your time with foil.
Yes, but don't let it stop you. If you've never done a whole hog,
you should do it. Well, because the takeaway
up a little bit.
So as someone who was also at this party later on that evening, there was still a ton of meat.
Yes.
So much food.
Thankfully, I'm very thankful it was my grill that caught on fire.
You didn't catch someone else's
Not
grill
the
on fire.
other grills I didn't want to buy someone a new grill, so it could have been way worse. At that point in time, I had moved everything off my concrete to protect the concrete from drips. So like I'm thankful my pergola didn't catch on fire. I'm thankful I trusted my gut to peek at it before hopping in the shower, because it could have gone way worse.
Right. Well, I mean, we talk about this all the time in hunting, but also with food too. This is the same way with when it's coming to like gut instinct on that, but also just like even when you're doing as little as like when you're figuring out how to season something, like you trusting your gut on a lot of those things gives you a really like, it's just a really.
What is it? Your homunculus?
Your homunculus is talking.
Trust it.
Trust your homunculus.
Trust it. If it says to do something, just.
Well, I'm really proud of you for actually doing it. I mean, you roasted a whole hog. That's something you can say you've done. And now, if you decide to ever do it again,
yeah,
you roasted on 3 grills, but you still did it.
It's a whole hog in 3 parts.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the legs came out just fine. It was absolutely perfect. Like they came to 200 just fine. And the bark was beautiful. It was all beautiful. We ended up just mixing everything. So pre-fire, my plan was to
have it sectioned, or like leave half and then have it pulled on one side.
We'll back up. So I bought the whole hog, because I'm a photographer. I love weird presentations. I wanted the head in the middle of this huge platter.
Okay.
With or without the apple, I could go either way. Yeah. But I wanted to surround that with the pulled pork.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, no. Half the people coming to this don't want to see that. And I was like, but it's my party.
It's my 40th birthday, lady. Leave me alone.
It's my party. Why can't I do this? And she's like, no. So that got vetoed. We had a little head party, and
I saw the head party was cool.
I invited some of the special people out that care about that stuff, and we picked at the head. It was good. Yeah. Because my wife's opinions on that matter, again, pre-fire, my plan was to take half of each. So, 1 rear leg, 1 ham, half the ribs, half the belly, half the front leg, shred all that, put that inside for the people who don't want to see what they're eating. And for the people, I feel like you and me and like my buddy Josh, Ryan, the people who care.
Colton was there. Yeah.
Colton, yeah. The people that care about what they're eating, that
want to see the pig,
that appreciate different muscle groups and different flavors, different textures. I wanted to have those whole on the grill, so you could kind of pick at different parts just to see how it came out.
Yeah.
But again, the fire happened. It screwed all that up. So I just shredded it all and mixed it up. So
still good. So how much meat is left
good
in your freezer now?
We gave a lot of it away.
That's good.
Which I'm okay with that. Honestly, the whole hog came out a little bit more dry because of the fire. Because I leaked a lot of the liquids out. So
the name of this episode is Because of the Fire.
Because of the fire. So yeah, the whole thing came out a little too dry because of that. Right. So I was okay letting people take it home. And honestly, most people at that party aren't as like in tune with their food. And they'll admit that. I quizzed a lot of the people after the fact saying like, okay, what could I have done differently with this hog? And David replied with, I eat to live, not live to eat. So I'm not the best person to ask. I thought it was good.
That's a solid answer. That's a solid answer. That's how it should be for most people.
Yeah.
But flavor is important.
The flavor was good. Yeah, it was a little dry, but we gave a lot of it away. We still have a bunch left over.
Good.
Was it worth it is the question that I'm still trying to ask.
My next question was, would you do this again?
100%. I will do it again. If I'd like to find a cheaper hog, something that's not quite that $5.50 a pound. That seems like a lot to pay.
Do you want it to be whole?
I do, because I appreciate the fat, the skin, the different muscle groups, and again the presentation. Like it's fun. Like again, I appreciate this stuff, like carving cheek meat off, and like the meat that's like around the pig's, like the back of the skull. Like
so maybe I will take your cooler down and see if I can get you a little
fatty, so rich, and just
the problem is like doing a wild boar.
That's way different.
Okay. It's gonna
way
be
less
lean.
fat.
It's gonna be way leaner. Yeah. You could do it that way. Just gonna
Jesse
have to watch
Griffiths. I bought his hog book. So
there you go.
Maybe you need to buy that, and I'll gift that to you when you turn 40.
I'll just bring you a pig. I'm just saying, my thought is if I can find
bring you a whole hog.
Well, I'll just bring one home.
Yes. We'll connect with Jesse on that one.
We get some little ones. So there are, especially out, some of these hunts that we've done, you'll see 30, 40 of these pigs coming in, and there's always littles too. Yeah. And obviously we tend to shoot the bigger ones, but but we can make a special arrangement of grabbing you a smaller one. Because one of the times we went out, Nick got one. I thought he was shooting at this massive one. He ends up shooting this little bitty one right next to it. That was like this little baby pig, but it wasn't a baby. It was just a very small pig.
Served the most tender.
They are, but it was very cute that he left.
Yearling deer.
They're
very
delicious.
tender, very good.
The veal is a thing for a reason.
Yes. So again, worth it. I don't know if it was worth it. Like I said, it was expensive. If I didn't burn it, I'd feel a whole lot better about the whole process.
Right.
But
it's a cool experience.
I will do it again. I would love to find a cheaper one though.
Yeah.
So that sub $5 per pound, I think would be ideal.
Well, especially at 78 pounds, like it just ended up being a lot of money for it.
But it was a good sized pig. Like, I mean, I don't know how many people showed up, but like, that's good for 30, 40 people.
Oh yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. I mean, if you count like someone's good for at least a half pound to maybe 3/4 of a pound at the most per person. I mean, you had twice as much meat as you needed.
There's a lot of meat. So the
chicken, it was a good party.
Chicken definitely stole the show though.
The chicken was so good.
So
I mean,
juicy.
obviously I can't have the pork. I did try some. It was good.
Okay.
It was dry, but it was
dry.
good. Again, I just had like a little piece of it just because I'm not gonna. That's gambling that I don't like to do.
Yeah. So moral of the story, trust your gut. When you see those red flags, and I knew some of the red flags when I saw them, and I disregarded them. So just think things through. Always work in pairs, so you have a second brain to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah. For that big of a roast, that's definitely where you need a little bit of extra help. And in fact,
especially if it's a first time. Like,
and I'm trying to think back. So Nathan, who we talked about, Nathan Dexter is a friend of mine who is a professional barbecue master. He has won several competitions and was ranked nationally in things like chicken wings and ribs and stuff. I've seen him do hog roast. I know the full hog roast is not his favorite thing to do. It is a lot of work, so it's not an easy thing to tackle there.
But it was fun.
And it's a good thing to and it's everyone always appreciates the presentation of the whole thing, and at that part it's cool and is worth it in that regard. I mean,
I think so. Yeah,
40th birthday is a special occasion enough to do something like that.
So saying all that, like I have zero regrets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't like that my grill is disfigured, and
I
don't like that
fine.
I don't like that I caught the pig on fire. But like,
yeah,
do I regret it? No. Like a huge learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
I had a blast again, despite the negatives. Like the positives still outweigh all of that. Like tons of fun with my friends.
Right.
Like great catching up with everybody. Like they enjoyed the meat.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it wasn't bad.
Right.
It wasn't like from a top tier full-time pro barbecue shop, but that's not me.
But that's also what's cool about that too. And we talk about this a lot in the podcast, but so much of cooking has to do with that preparation, the love that goes into actually doing the cooking part of it makes it taste that much better. And I can even like for you personally, but also I think for everyone that came to the party, knowing that like you did this made it that much more special. And that's why you're going to get a lot of that feedback. And no one complained about it being dry. Like no one was like upset.
We are our own worst critics.
Oh, 100%. It was still delicious. It was still done by you. And that part's really cool. So well, right on, man.
I had a good
Congrats.
time. So.
Congratulations on turning 40 too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You made it.
The collagen is helping.
Right on.
Yes.
Do we have a recipe this week?
Oh gosh. I mean, I could tell you the pig recipe.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's just talk about maybe just the rub part.
Pig, the chickens, the rubs. Yeah. So I should have done more research. Again, last minute shopping. Mm-hmm. I assumed Kroger would have more of the fire and smoke society. Mm-hmm. I was going to do all sweet preacher, or they have another pork rub that's equally phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I forget what it's called, but it's very obvious. It says pork on it. It's beautiful rub. All I could find was this tiny little jar, which is not nearly enough.
No.
So I just bought some. I think it was like a Memphis style, a little bit more on the spicier side rub. It was just like a Kroger brand special, but it was like a lot of garlic, a lot of cayenne, black pepper, kind of your standard Memphis.
Right.
I'm assuming rub. But the injection was, I forget the ratios, but it was a combination of apple juice, apple cider vinegar, melted butter, Worcestershire sauce, and the rub that you use. So kind of melt the butter down, mix all that up, heat it up so the rub actually dissolves. You might have to grind it up in a mortar and pestle because that'll clog your nozzle on your injector. And heat that up, let it cool down, and then just cram as much of that liquid as you could possibly fit into your pork. I think it'd be all. I want to try it on a shoulder.
I was going to say this, like I was just about to say, like this is, you don't need a whole pig for this. You could just do a shoulder and do the same thing.
Yeah, 100%. Next time I do a shoulder, I mean, shoulders, like if you do it in a tray, like I typically do, I mean, there's a ton of juice that comes out of a shoulder. But if you can add more vinegar and apple juice, like that is just flavor bomb.
Right.
So inject way more juice than you think you should inject into this pig. And then, just get a good rub.
Right.
No binders. You just, slap it on and
that's awesome, man.
Let it go. The chicken, I will say, is 100% if you're not brining your white meat birds, you're doing it wrong. You need to brine your turkey, your chicken, your pheasants. Length of time kind of depends on the bird. Pheasants not near as much as a turkey or chicken. Traeger makes a citrus brine that is the best I've ever had. I don't know what's in it. It's just Traeger's citrus brine.
Right.
It's designed for turkey, but 100% works awesome on chicken. And it's a brine.
So the brine that was on the chicken.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you brine it for 24 hours. And
for those at home that don't know what brine is, we've talked about it before in the podcast, but just as a reminder, you mix the brine and like you go through like how long you do it.
Again, I don't know the recipe. It's all Traeger's
right,
website.
But you're putting that in with the water.
It's salt, it's seasonings, dissolved in water and then cooled off. and then you submerge your bird in this liquid.
Right. So, yeah, that's the part of it, and it's also the trick to goose as well. And that you taught me that because, like I said, I've had the goose that I've had, and like I said, I've had nothing. But my friends always say, like, "Oh, you eat that? Like, why would you eat that? It's so gross." I'm like, "It's because y'all don't know. You're not doing it right."
Goose. So it's osmosis. You're essentially the salty solution is essentially pulling water out of the meat and replacing it with salt water. So it's like you're just getting a different kind of liquid in the turkey, but like lots of flavor. With goose and duck, not with duck so much, but with goose, the intent is to draw some of that blood out and replace it with salt water, and flavor. If you want to spice it up with stuff.
Yeah, so much better.
So good.
Yes. Anyway. So not to change the subject completely about the brine, but that's just another thing. Like so, it's so cool. So injection is the way.
Injection's the way. Yeah, either by force with a huge needle, a scary needle, or just osmosis via a brine.
Right. Okay.
But then Traeger citrus rub on top of the turkey or chicken before you put it on the smoker. Oh my gosh.
So good.
There's something about citrus and birds that's just so beautiful.
Good. Yeah, it was really good meat.
So good. So
the chicken was great, I will say.
10 for 10. The chicken stole the show.
Right. All that work on that pig, and here's this stupid chicken.
Yes, the stupid
but
chicken.
It was chicken that you bought from local,
it was a local
chicken. So that's also
Indiana
cool.
chicken. Yeah, very well taken care of. Beautiful bird. I will buy again. County. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on her name. We'll put it in the show notes.
They'll be in the notes.
County Road Farm or County. I'm sorry, Laura. I just learned you had this.
We'll
business.
tag you in it. It's fine. When we make the reel of this part, this is where we'll tag you. It's right here.
Yes. I remembered your name.
Here's your name.
It is County something Farm.
County something farm. Check
Based
it out.
in LaFountain. If you're close, buy their chickens.
Beat birds.
Yes, sir.
Cool, man.
Yes. Thanks for having me over.
Man. Yeah,
beautiful
dude,
house.
Glad to see it. Thank you. We'll probably
love the stories.
have to do some more here with
Would love to.
the gang, with the boys.
Yes, sir.
So we'll get them to get Colt and Corey back on here and fill the living room.
We'll try and get them back.
Yeah, they'll be back. They'll be back.
They'll be back.
Yeah.
It's just a busy season.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
Until next time.
Thanks, guys.
Catch you guys later.
Oliver made it all the way through. No barking.
He dropped his bone once.
He dropped it once. He's like, it's bedtime. He's ready to go.